Medfield TV presents Meet the Candidates, interviews with our citizens running for local offices. This series is being brought to you by the joint efforts of Carol Mayer, Town Clerk, Perry Oasis, Medfield High School Social Studies teacher, as well as Rachel Ferrulo of Medfield TV. I am Kelsey Harkins from Medfield High School. I will be posing questions to the candidate. He will have 2 minutes to respond to each question. At the end of the questioning period, the candidate will have 2 additional minutes to address the TV audience. Today we are interviewing Scott McDermott. He is an incumbent running for the office of Town Moderator. This position is a 1-year term. There is 1 position open. He is running unopposed. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime. Your first question is, if anyone has any questions they'd like to ask, where or how can they contact you?
They could just pick up the phone and give me a call at home. The number's in the book, 359-9147. That would probably be the easiest. They could reach out to the town administrator's office or the secretary to the Board of Selectmen, and they will put people in touch with me as well.
Okay. What does the moderator do?
The moderator does a couple things formally. First, we orchestrate the town meeting. And so every year in the last Monday in April, we hold an annual town meeting. And every few years, there are initiatives that require us to have a special town meeting. So it's the moderator's job to pre-meeting to gather all the people, to make sure that people are prepared for that night, and then during the course of that evening, or sometimes a second night, we make sure that we are addressing the audience and setting down the ground rules for which the proceedings will take place. And then I recognize people on the floor, either to speak or to set up the votes, and then we manage the voting on any of the articles from the town meeting. The second thing that the moderator does in Medfield is we get the opportunity to be able to appoint the members of our warrant committee. And so we have a very important committee of volunteers in town, the warrant committee, that looks at all of the articles that are on the town meeting warrant and evaluates them, and is really the kind of the eyes and ears for the town in reviewing all of the provisions, including the operating budget. So I appoint all 9 members of the warrant committee.
Oh, wow. What about this position has made you so devoted and motivated to seek re-election?
Well, it's partially the position, which I'll talk to, but it's partially Medfield. You know, I have very strong feelings about Medfield being a special place. And so the moderator is a great opportunity to be able to engage. Being the moderator is that I would say I've always been drawn to Medfield's history and its heritage. We've been doing town meetings since 1650. So, and over the course of history, some very dramatic and important decisions have been made by town meeting. At one point in my career, I was a lawyer. I'm more of a business person now, but there's a kind of a legal element to the town, certainly a procedural element to the town meeting, and I'm kind of naturally drawn to that. And also the fact that it's a gathering of people, and I like the fact that in Medfield we have a whole series of volunteers that contribute mightily to what we do, and also have a devoted constituency of folks who come to be the legislators at the town meeting, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay, so carrying off of what you started to say, but what experience do you have that translate to the position for which you are running?
Well, now I have a lot of experience as moderator. So I have been doing this for 17 years, and so I bring that experience. And together with that, I bring the experience of having been trained as a lawyer and having a long business career. I also have an academic orientation. I've had a relationship with the School of Management at Boston College for about 35 years. And through that, I've had an opportunity to develop a number of insights and experiences that would also bear on doing the job.
What qualities do you have that make you a good candidate for this position?
I think I have a kind of an even-tempered demeanor. I have a little bit of a sense of humor, which is, I think, helpful in being the moderator. I'm very interested and engaged in the town meeting naturally, because I not only enjoy it, I think it's very important for the town. So I think that's I have a curiosity about how the town will address the articles. I'm a good listener, so I've kind of been trained to, to listen and pay attention and be both objective and empathetic, as a listener. So I think all of those things help to contribute. Going back to the people, I like people, and since it's a body of people, it's enjoyable to engage with the people that come to town meeting.
Do you notice any issues or problems that you would like to work on as town moderator?
Well, there's a lot of issues all the time, in Medfield, important issues, and towns go through change and evolutionary periods, and I feel like we're in one of those periods now. And so we have a whole series of important issues that are addressed by our town government, and everything from our operating budgets, and right now we have senior housing, we have issues associated with affordable housing, we have issues associated with what we're going to do with the former Medfield State Hospital. And the thing that makes Medfield, I think, so distinctive, and I do believe it's different than many other towns, and it has to do with partially with the tone of the way that we conduct our affairs, which I appreciate. It has to do with a little bit with our heritage, our historical element, but it also has a lot to do with the community. And I think that Medfield is a place that prizes community. And when you prize community, you get to see the benefits of the power of common purpose. And so we've largely been able to find that common purpose, but it's not always easy, because we have lots of constituencies that have different interests. And so what I try to do is draw everybody towards that common purpose, and also to the importance of the whole fabric of the community, weaving together all of these things that are important. Having great schools, having open space, having be a very safe place, a good place to do business, a good place to be old or young. Those are all, I think, very, very important.
Yeah. So as you said, you've been moderator for 17 years. What has changed since your first year as moderator?
In the town, what has changed? Medfield, beyond Lords and being gone, and Brothers being here, and Starbucks replacing a gas station in the center of town, so there's been a little bit different feel. We have restaurants, so the feel of Medfield is slightly different. And we acquired the state hospital, so that's a big change. We acquired that from the Commonwealth. So I would say that owning the state hospital is a significant change. We've continued to do investments in capital projects since I've been moderator. We've built a new public works facility. We built a new public safety facility. And we continue to look forward to projects that make Medfield a great place to live. And we have an elementary school project that is on the horizon. So I think those are some of the changes. I think that importantly, what stayed the same is the commitment that people in town make to the community, and that has been very consistent. And it's very important that continues to go on, because an amazing amount of what goes on in Medfield is actually undertaken by volunteers. And so it's very, very important that we continually regenerate neighbors and friends who are willing to make the time commitment and to be engaged as volunteers in a wide range of activities. So that's the same, and hopefully it will continue into the future.
Yeah. What important questions are on this year's warrant?
This is an interesting year, unlike the past couple of years where we've had a very broad range of questions. This year, the warrant is a little bit more contained, is a little bit more limited. So in terms of controversial initiatives, I don't think there's very many. We have one initiative that would outlaw using plastic bags in town. So that will get some attention, and will be interesting to see how the town feels about that. But I think this year, the focus is going to be on our operating budget. And we have a lot of ambition to do things in Medfield, which is rightful, but we also only have a certain capacity and capability to do that. We always have to be aware of how we raise our funds, which is largely through a residential tax base. And so the capacity to be able to use that tax base is not infinite, and we have spent to continue to keep Medfield in its position of being a great town, but we have to look at how we're going to be able to do that going forward in a measured way. So I would say that the biggest issue this year will be the consideration of our operating and capital budgets. Which is extraordinary that's what town meeting does. One of the things that we do is that we do address the budget.
What are some common misconceptions about town moderator and about the position?
Misconceptions. Gosh, I don't know. I think I wish more people would come to town meeting and would make up their own mind about the moderator. I think most people understand that the job is largely about being an unbiased individual who is trying to manage this legislative process as fairly as possible, as evenly as possible, giving people an opportunity to be able to address the town, but also understanding that we have to move through a lot of items, and so there has to be a certain expediency or efficiency to what we do. So balancing those two things, I think sometimes the misconception might be that some people think that I balance it too heavily towards giving too many people an opportunity to address issues where it might be apparent to the feel of the meeting that people have made up their mind, and other people think that I lean too heavily on expediency and I don't give people enough time. So I would say that the perception that the moderator would come with any particular bias in any fashion. I work hard to make sure I try to be as balanced as I can to all of the sides that have opinions, and sometimes very strong opinions about the various articles. So, although that's what comes to mind, I guess.
Yeah. What do you think your best success has been as town moderator?
Well, one of the successes, I think, is that I've been able to identify and find some exceptional people to serve on the warrant committee, and who are willing to really dig in and dive in to these issues at a depth that I think of examination and review that benefits the whole town. So I would think that, and I think I've appointed over time over 35 people to the warrant committee. So I would put that high on the success quotient of what we've been able to do, is to bring those people to it. I think I've been successful in trying to, along with a lot of other people, to be able to set a tone of civility, to set a tone of openness, to set a tone of embracing the work done by all of the people that work for the town and all of the volunteers that contribute to that. So I think that's a success, and I think I've been reasonably successful at trying to balance that expediency with that fairness at town meetings. And I think we run a very good town meeting. To do as much legislative business in one night as we often do is really a testimony to the preparation of the warrant committee, the work of all of our town officials, and the fact that we are able to stand in front of the town and get the commitment of all of the people who make up the quorum for 3, 4, 5 hours at a time, I think that's a success as well.
Now, would you like to take a few moments to speak to the audience? You have 2 minutes to do so.
Okay, well, I'd just like to encourage everyone in town to not just to come to the town meeting on April 29th, but also to try to pay as close attention as possible to the issues as they evolve by watching Medfield TV, by attending meetings, and also by putting a little time in to take a look at our budgets, which come out every year in the annual report, and then the budget is also sent to all the residents of the town a couple of weeks before the meeting, and to really to look at that and to come to understand for themselves, how the town works. For people to understand that by coming to town meeting, they have the opportunity to be part of a legislature. So there are 2 different types of town meeting. There's representative town meetings where people are actually elected to come to the town meeting, but we have always maintained the tradition of an open town meeting. And in an open town meeting, any one of our friends and neighbors can come and actually be a legislator for the evening. And I think that's, it's very powerful. And, so I encourage everybody in town to come. I encourage everybody to try to always seek out this common purpose, to always be mindful of the fact that what makes a great community is the fabric of all of these very important things coming together. As I said, great schools, open space, great place to live for the young and the old, a good commercial base, safe place to live, having great open space, all those things come to mind. And I hope people can appreciate the history and heritage that I was talking about, the fact that 125 years before even the Declaration of Independence, there were people in Medfield who were coming to a town meeting and beginning to decide issues that have built this town, over more than 350 years.
Yeah. I would like to thank the candidate for participating in this interview. Please remember that democracy is not a spectator sport, and please vote at the Center on Icehouse Road on Monday, March 25th from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. I think that importantly what stayed the same is the commitment that people in town make to the community, and that has been very consistent. And it's very important that continues to go on, because an amazing amount of what goes on in Medfield is actually undertaken by volunteers. And so